Long ago, when the skies still spoke to the trees and the rivers whispered secrets to those who listened, there was a land of rolling hills and fertile earth called Ndala. In that land, the people lived by strength, honor, and spirit. Every season brought both blessings and battles, and in this land, only the strong could lead. Among the people of Ndala was born a child unlike any other, a boy named Zuba, which in the old tongue meant stone, for he was as strong and unmoving as one. From the day he was born, the elders noticed the signs. When he cried, animals in the forest fled. When he crawled, the ground cracked beneath him. At the age of 5, he carried water pots 3 times his size from the river. By 10, he was lifting logs that grown men needed oxen to move. This one, the village seer said, carries the strength of 10 bulls in his bones, but beware, even stone can crumble. The test of the rhino. It was during the harmattan season, when the dry winds turned the sky red and the earth to dust, that the great calamity came. A monster stormed from the forest into Ndala. It smashed huts, destroyed granaries, and gored anyone who stood in its path. The people were terrified. Hunters tried and failed. Warriors fell. The elders called upon Zuba. He was only 20 then, tall like a baobab tree, shoulders wide like a river mouth, and eyes that burned like a warrior's fire. Without armor or spear, he stepped forward. As the village gathered on the hill to watch, Zuba approached the beast. The rhino charged. Zuba roared. And when the dust cleared, it was the rhino that lay broken, and Zuba who stood, panting but victorious, his hands soaked in blood, but his spirit shining like the morning sun. The people erupted in song. They called him Zuba the Mighty, slayer of the beast, protector of Ndala. He was made chief, wrapped in lion skins, crowned with gold, and given the sacred spear of his ancestors. His name was sung in other villages, and warriors came from afar to learn from him. A kingdom of peace and pride under Zuba's rule, Ndala flourished. No enemies dared approach. Trade routes opened. Children were trained in the art of strength and courage. He led not only with brawn, but with wisdom, solving disputes with fairness, and inspiring even the old with hope. But where his arms were strong, his heart was weak. Zuba loved women. At first, the people didn't mind. It was natural, they said, for a strong man to desire beauty. He married 1, then 2, then 6. Soon his hut became a palace filled with dancers, singers, and women who fanned him as he rested. He no longer rose with the sun to train. He stopped patrolling the borders. He missed council meetings. He was no longer the roaring lion of the village, but a pampered king lost in silk and kisses. The warning. The village elder, Baba Kulani, came to him one morning. Zuba, he said, the wind no longer carries your name. The young no longer fear your shadow. You have become soft, and soft men invite sharp dangers. But Zuba laughed. I have earned my rest, he said. Let the others train. Let the warriors patrol. My strength is eternal. But strength, like fire, must be fed. The fall. It was during the planting season when the enemy came. A rival village, hearing of Zuba's decline, sent raiders in the night. They crept in like shadows and struck like thunder. Fires blazed, women screamed, warriors fought, but the enemy was fierce. The people rushed to their chief's palace. But Zuba, once the man who broke a rhino's spine, struggled to rise from his bed. His muscles had softened, his chest heaved with every breath. He reached for his sacred spear, but it felt heavier than ever before. He stumbled outside. The villagers saw him. He tried to roar, but it came out a whisper. He lifted the spear, but it fell. The invaders laughed. The warriors fought on without him. After hours of bloodshed, they drove the enemies away, but the damage was done. Crops burned. Warriors died. The people's faith was broken. End of a legend. The next morning, the village gathered. The council of elders, with pain in their voices, stripped Zuba of his title. He was no longer chief. His wives packed their things and left. The songs of his glory were replaced with silence. Zuba, once a man who walked with giants, now walked alone. He lived in a small hut at the edge of the village. Children no longer ran to hear his stories. Young men trained under new leaders. He sat most days beneath a tree, staring at the mountains he once climbed with ease. Legacy and lesson. Years later, when a young boy asked the new chief, Is the story of Zuba real? The chief nodded and replied, yes. And remember this, Zuba was the strongest man who ever lived. But strength is not just in the body. It is in the discipline to protect it, the wisdom to use it, and the will to keep it sacred. Zuba lost not to an enemy, but to himself. And so, to this day, when the drums beat in Ndala, they do not just tell the tale of Zuba the Mighty, but they sing the warning passed from elder to child.